Good morning, everyone. Fill up your cups. So, no matter what road we're on, no matter what highway you're traveling today, we can't do it alone. There are always going to be other cars on the road with us, and those are our relationships. So, in digging into the 7 habits of highly effective people, the next 3 habits are all about our relationships with others and what he calls our interdependence. So, how do we avoid the potholes and traffic jams that other relationships can bring? We start with ourselves, which the first 3 habits were all about becoming proactive, centered in the correct principles, value-driven, and being able to organize and execute around the priorities in our life. We can then become capable at building rich, enduring, highly productive relationships with others, which sounds awesome. So Stephen Covey uses the metaphor of an emotional bank account that we need to make deposits into, that everybody has these emotional bank accounts. And this is the amount of trust that we build up with other people. So if I make deposits of courtesy, kindness, honesty, I keep my commitments, the trust builds. And when the trust is high, communication becomes so much easier, clearer, and more effective, which is what we want. So obviously we have more constant relationships, like if you're married or have children, and those require the most consistent deposits on our behalf. And I think it's important to point out that building and repairing relationships takes time. This isn't something that you can just wake up and say, okay, I'm going to be a highly effective person today and repair all my relationships by dinner time. It doesn't work that way. This is something that takes long-term investment of these deposits over a long time. And he says there are 6 major ways to make deposits into a relationship. The first one is the basis for all the other ones, and that's understanding the individual. And this is so important. I like to think of this as you can't fit a square peg into a round hole. No one in this world is exactly the same. So you can't treat your relationships the same with a cookie cutter formula and just say, well, this is how I am, you deal with it. You have to meet the other individuals in your life where they are. Understanding where they're coming from and what's in their mind will make it so much easier for you to make those deposits and really relate to people on a whole nother level. And then number 2 is attending to the little things. And this again makes so much sense to me, because before somebody's going to come to you with the big things, they need to have assurance that you care enough to do the little things. So he uses the example of having taken his kids out for a day of activity, and the one action that the children remembered the most was he put his coat around his little boy because he was cold. And so it's those little gestures of kindness that really can build long-term deposits for us. So do the little things. That way you'll be there for the big things. Number 3, keeping commitments. Don't make a promise you can't keep. And this is so important to other people, especially our children, because they're watching and they're taking note. And if we want them to believe us long term, we've got to keep those small commitments and even the big ones too. And then number 4, clarifying expectations. And this really isn't, this one's an important one too, because when you have clear expectations that you've communicated to the other person, then you're able to hold them accountable, hold yourself accountable, and it takes out all the gray area of misinterpretation. And it's as simple as, you know, if I want my son, my teenage son, to complete his chores, I map out when I want them done, what time I want them done by, and what needs to be accomplished so that he's very, very clear in what my expectation is. So I don't get angry then when I come home and nothing's done. Or if nothing's done, I've set the expectation up. So now there's consequences, but it's all communicated ahead of time. I'm not just waiting there getting angry to see if he's going to do anything, right? Number 5, showing personal integrity. And this is important. This is about being the type of person in front of someone that you are behind their back. And if you talk about people in a negative way behind their back, what message does that send to the person you're having that conversation with? Because that other person is going to think, gosh, the minute Katie leaves, she's going to start talking about me that way to somebody else. So we've got to be the same person all the time, and we have to move and think and talk from a place of integrity, because it's a reflection of yourself, and those are the deposits that you make in other people as well, when you show personal integrity. And then number 6, this is important, apologizing sincerely when you make a withdrawal from that account, because we're going to make withdrawals. We're going to say things that we don't mean. We're going to maybe not follow through on a promise or a commitment, or something comes up and you just can't take the kids to the ice cream shop that afternoon. So you've got to apologize, but you got to be sincere about it, because everybody knows when you're giving a fake apology, it usually ends with a but, where you justify your poor behavior. And that's really not cool. I hate fake apologies. They really get me going, to be honest with you. So just sincerely apologize, even if you feel justified in your behavior. Sincerely apologize and move on, right? And these 6 deposits is all about loving other people unconditionally. And when we love other people unconditionally, we make it easier for them to live their best lives, and to have the courage and integrity to move forward in their lives. And this is how we show our love, by making these deposits, by building trust, and by keeping lines of communication open, honest, and clear. So when we're taking ownership of ourselves, we're being proactive, we're being centered around our principles, we're being effective with our time. We now understand the emotional bank account of others and ourselves. We can really foster those positive, meaningful relationships. So what comes next? The next 3 habits. So today, it's the 4th of July. Go out there, have an amazing day. This is such an amazing opportunity for you to make deposits, emotional deposits with your loved ones. I hope you're spending time with family today. We had a fabulous day yesterday, hanging out with friends that we haven't really seen in a while, because it's just been a really busy time here. The last couple of months have been a little crazy. So spend time today making those emotional deposits. It feels so good. And that's the thing I love the most about building healthy relationships. When you make those investments, guys, the payoff is tenfold to you in your heart. You just feel your heart grow every time you do it. So fostering positive, healthy relationships is what's going to help us be more effective people. So tune in tomorrow for habit number 4, win-win. Talk later, guys.